though, right? We have to focus on some of those off-spawn engagements, some of the stories that leave tears for us before they even start.
And as we head into the game, who will be the teams to redeem themselves, or maybe to continue along their line of dominance? In the top right of your screen, you can see O'Reilly making his way into Logjam Lumberyard. Last time round, things didn't quite go the way they would have wanted to. They're sitting in 25th right now, and they'll want to push up much higher again. To remind you, this is a team who we were all expecting to be landing at Command Cavern, but once game one started, they decided, nope, we don't want any of that smoke with any of those guys. We're gonna try it with Flois and Mappy, but Flois and Mappy have decided to leave, and they've come back to a place that they're very familiar with, Coney Crossroads.
And we were expecting this to happen maybe on day 2 from a different team. I think it was just Snazy and Podesai that might get invaded on, not someone escaping somewhere else and just trying to save their game on a POI they're familiar with.
Yeah, that's a big point actually you make, Shire, right? These kind of adjustments are things you see in day 2, right? Once everything's done and dusted on the first day, you go out and you decide, okay, maybe we have to move. But for these guys to do that in game 3, sorry, that shows the sort of mindset, right? They don't want to leave things to chance whatsoever. We're seeing Ref's guard going down in that replay at the hands of Siren and Asvi. Big fights happening all over the map. Benji Fishy and the feed going down to Bad Snap. I'm sure there's a lot of people.
What season is it again?
There's a lot of seasons where you could tell me this is happening. Of course, last season, that was one of the biggest battles we had all around the map. This time round, though, it still seems like Bad Snap and DKS are getting the best of those guys to some degree. Flixie and Kiduo, a team who sat in first place after game 1, trying to regain that spot, but it's not going to be an easy path to doing so. Flixie goes down. Kiduo, what can he do? The boy in AOS up against the Andy and Joe. Has to hit a big shot. The drum shotgun isn't going to be enough, even if it will take Joe out. Once again, I feel like Ziandi coming in as the insurance in that fight.
All about a slight distraction, that's all they need. Meanwhile, over here, looks like Snazy Podesai, excuse me, a little bit of a rude awakening for them overall. Mappy and Flois way back at home, and looks like they had the D to the house, just looking that much more natural up here in the crossroads. Looks like Snazy already down, all up the Podesai to maybe get this 2v1 going. From what we've seen in previous weeks, though, very difficult to be able to play in this POI without a dual partner, without the possibilities of a pinch or an essence of control. Podesai will be able to change a few layers, go left and right, but Mappy and Flois, they've had this fight, what, 1,000 times?
That's tough though, man. If you're Snazy and Podesai, you've just had your game hampered, not directly because of Flois and Mappy, right? Indirectly, Noah Riley and Vidil are the cause of this. Like, if those guys just stay at command, Flois and Mappy never have any issues at Logjam, and because they never have any issues at Logjam, they never decide to contest at Coney and take out Podesai and Snazy. So the knock-on effect of just one team's decision can go a long, long way sometimes in these games.
Choose a waterfall, choose a butterfly, whatever animal or thing you want to attack to the beginning, you can. For Scram and Hellfire, I don't know what animal you can attribute to that type of drop down. Reason and Deceptos, we were thinking they were the incarnate of fear in the lobby. They've been taking out almost every single early game.
Yeah, it's not been a great start to them, right? They've obviously had their struggles, but like you said, one of their biggest selling points as a team is that, you know, they aren't people you want to knock on their door, right? You don't want to mess with those guys more often than not, but they haven't been able to possess that level of power. Maybe they need to start getting some tips from these guys. Aqua and Vino, a very, very powerful duo in these games. Farming up, making sure to get them floors, one of the best sources of metal at the Command Cavern.
Think about it this way in terms of just like POIs, you know, making winners, game winners, or lobby leaders. You would never expect, like, you know, Retail Row or when it was a mall completely, to have 3 different teams be able to be inside the top 3 to make close towards the end game. You never expect, you know, Craggy Cliffs to be able to have and sustain two different duos or trios or teams rock in and have them fight all the way towards the end. This is so unique to this FNCS, and it's crazy that these teams are landing next to each other, taking shots, and then fighting as the final two duels left in the game.
But again, it just goes back to what the analysts were saying and what everyone basically has been saying this season. Command Cavern is such a strong POI, one of the strongest, if not the strongest, we've ever had in the game. It rivals the likes of the Stark Industries POI and all the other ones we've seen at times, right? You know, go back to Season X, right? Season 9, that version of Neo Tilted, right? It beats them all, right? It beats them all. And we're seeing the effects of that on the leaderboard. We got a little update though for Mini Miner on some of these teams.
Thank you, Levin. We're going to be highlighting Tayson and Chapix here. Now, they're picking up their Storm Surge early on. We just talked about Storm Surge, and another element that they can add to that arsenal is the use of the scanner, the recon scanners that are dotted in and around the Collider POI. Now, right now, they're in the center of zone, and that recon scanner allows them to scan all different players around them and then pick up easy Storm Surge tags, which they can use later on to not have to worry about it. So they're picking up the Storm Surge tags, they're using the scanner to get them and highlight all the players that are nearby.
Giving Tayson basically, you know, the equivalent of just an unfair advantage, you know, compared to everyone else. Add that to just his prowess. I mean, it's not fair.
Yeah, giving Tayson an opportunity to see things that a regular eye can't see is never going to be ideal for the opponents. Of course, there does need to be people there, right?
Yeah.
In terms of what he can and can't see. So we'll see if they are able to do their damage. They've done a brilliant job of that so far. Obviously, came into this game in fourth. And they've been very consistent. Stompy and Jew not being consistent whatsoever. Tipsy-turpsy, up and down. And Stompy just deciding, I'm going to get out of there. I'm sorry, Jew, bro. I'm sorry, bro. But you're going to have to do that yourself. Big man, I'm out.
I mean, I like the vibes of them entering that fight. Looked like a Fortnite trailer for, like, the start of the chapter, sliding down a hill, shooting at builds, you know?
Yeah.
RPGs going across the screen as well.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, the fight just stops. And that's a very important one for these two specific teams who are going to be landing basically next to each other a lot. And they were 15th and 18th respectively. They're having a very similar day so far. Every time, like spinning tops in a bowl, they clash. Whichever one slows down a little bit more might just topple out completely and have the other one soaring towards the top 10.
Who would you put, you know?
My dosh on.
Yeah, who would you put your dosh on?
Personally, like on paper, it looks like, you know, Stompy and Jew should just rock things out. But after seeing multiple trailers, one of them being the one that Stompy and Jew were just a part of, that fight, kind of iffy. And then Eclipse and Noxies as well on Twitter. It might be towards them.
I think the big thing with Eclipse and Noxie, right, is that they are new players, and so the expectations for them are quite low for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But sometimes that could be a good thing, you know? If they can come into this without the nerves and the pressure, then
yeah,
why not?
100%. I just saw something hilarious. I'm not sure if we can get that back on screen. The cam from Astro, the perspective.
Yeah.
He's permanently third-party. His room is so bright.
Yeah.
I didn't even see him on screen. I thought that was just like a zone notification or like a stat flying coming in. This man is surrounded by holy lights.
Bro, who said we ain't got good weather in Manchester? Clearly, the sun is beaming out there. Shout out to my guy Astro. Hopefully we get to see some happy reactions from them from today's games. But yeah, like you said, man, he's just, you know, permanently flashbang dormant.
If he misses shots, we know what. Not his fault.
If we
Not
see
his
Astro
fault.
missing shots, you know exactly why. He can't see. That is the reason.
Oh, look at this. That has to be Scram and Hellfire. Interrupted by, I was about to say Janus and Vortex. Just Janus. Again. Why? Not how, why now? Because this is game 4-11. This is a team that learns. Learns at least this specific portion. Maybe not Surge and the half-and-half issues, but why this early?
Are they a team that learns though? Look at the struggles they've had this season, Shia. Start off at Greasy Grove, can't hack it there, move. Go to the Collider, can't hack it there, move. Constantly going all around the map, trying to find somewhere they can call home. They even spent some time at Coney Crossroads, right? So they're a team that's been in disarray all season long. And that seems like it's going to continue for the rest of today in the meantime. But look, Thomas and Trippin. So I'm going to guess, based off of Thomas's inventory and the lack of a pad, that Gunner didn't spawn on their side, unless Trippin is just hogging all the launch pads.
Doubt.
Doubt.
Doubt. But yeah, I mean, depending on how the game goes, we're what? Who was the other team? It was Aquavina who gets
Yeah.
even more. Why? We don't need. We don't need that.
It's come
we
on,
watched
Kevin,
game
man.
3. We don't need that.
It's come on, Kevin, bro. It's just the Vino and Aqua. Spoiler alert: we're probably gonna see them on height this game.
Oh, for real.
It's interesting though, right? Because like we're seeing with some of the other Command teams, they stick around in Command for quite a while. Thomas and Trippin's approach in these games so far is let's get out as quick as you can. They just want to get out as quick as they can. I think that's the right decision for them when you look at some of the struggles they've had so far this season.
I think for Vidil and Noah Riley, it was kind of similar in previous seasons. It's land and attack a side POI or something that's close to you.
Yeah.
For what we've seen right now, Logjam Lumberyard and how they've been just waiting up top in the north, going for these storm fights. It is not move, it's defend. It's wait for people to come in or attack people that land where you are.
The big problem for them, right, is that they're already a team that isn't known to have an established strategy when it comes to dealing with surge and getting damage, other than just fight, fight, fight.
No, it's pronounced Unga Bunga.
Unga Bunga, I think in the dialect
Yeah.
of my area, it's actually Ooga Booga.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Definitely some boogeyman situations here for a second. Continue.
scary stuff.
Yeah.
Not for Vettel and Lotic, so.
Why does Vidil actually just look like a horror movie villain right now in the attic?
Lurking in the
Oh
shadows.
my goodness.
Vettel caught sleeping.
Cut scene. Next. You know that little thing, the checkered board?
Yeah.
And it snaps. We move on to the end of the movie where there's a huge hunt, a chase between our villains, the monsters, Vidil, Noah Riley, and the main characters. Malibuka Mustache is going on here. I'm actually not worried. I'm actually not worried at all.
Yeah.
I should be, but this looks a lot easier than the end game they just played.
They might be the only team where you can see them both on like 5 HP and not have to be worried at times.
That's where the pinky goes up when you take a sip of tea, right? That's how they do it in your ends?
That's how they do it in my ends, yeah. That is how you do it. You stick your pinky out and you're taking a sip.
Yeah. Wow, that's how lethal Malibuka is.
He didn't have
He
to
stared
shoot.
at him, didn't shoot, and the man went down. Only Malibuka things.
Oh my god. That is
Truly.
hilarious.
I've never seen that before. He's scary.
That is absolutely hilarious. So for the people who maybe don't get the trick, he didn't actually just eliminate him by looking at him. Somebody else from afar did the finishing blow, but it did look as if he just looked at him and eliminated him.
He's a level 100 mob boss
On this,
with level 10 thugs around him.
he's upgraded, man. He's upgraded.
Oh my, Noah Riley. So this fight is still going on. You know when you leave the blender on too long?
Yeah.
And it's just going.
Yeah.
You get used to the sound? I actually don't know that. I don't know where I'm going with this,
Well,
but
I was gonna say, Norali and Vidal, they look like level 15, Sicarios, right? They're level 15. They need to work their way up in the organization.
yeah.
In the meantime, T-Chips, another game where they're just fragmented as a duo. We saw Vino and Aqua were the ones to take them out last game. But this time, Scram and Hellfire will be the ones to do that damage. And finally, a game where they're looking comfortable on Surge as well. And a difference, a bit of an adaptation. In the previous games, we saw they were using that vehicle to play center zone and try to take positions there. This time, doing what we see some of the better teams doing, using the vehicle to get out to less congested sides of the zone, edge map, take isolated fights, similar to what we used to see Queasy and Hen do when they were those guys in the region. And maybe that will pay off for them.
Possibly. I think for this game specifically, they've barely even used the vehicle. Like, it was pushed forward from Greasy all the way to the bottom of Cavern,
Yeah.
and then shot out by one of the teams up top.
Yeah.
They're doing better without the car. Why even use it? Because, as you said, maybe they're not familiar with playing that center zone. They've just been using cannons so far past that and staying on foot, and it's going much better for them.
Yeah, well, you can see now, right? They're trying to head, and they do get into zone successfully.
Unscathed.
Yeah, nice. Typically, right, that's always a risk in these sort of games, whether that be a rift play or a cannon play, any sort of play that leaves you isolated in the sky without the ability to protect yourself can always be dicey. Everybody in these lobbies, pinpoint precise shots. being hit.
Vino and Aqua, I'm seeing different trade jobs here right now on the server. They're obviously lumberjacks from Vino's POV.
Yeah.
There are multiple people, the train industry, Levin, right? Or the bridge ticket office industry.
Okay.
It's large right now.
Yeah.
There's big congestion for jobs. I think Thomas and Tripper are ahead of the class in it. But there's one bridge with 4 teams stuck. Only one team can get the job.
Well, look, sometimes you get the plain sight officers that catch you out by surprise. They're lurking within the midst of everybody. You think they're one of you, you turn around and all of a sudden they're the ones on your back, and that seems to be the case for Seti and Cammy, as they just are putting in so much damage on this side of the zone.
A quick stat up top as well. You can see how even if things are bad for them before, when things finally matter, when the days start to close in, it goes closer towards the finals, they perform. I'm personally not scared. First 2 games, always different. Always haha crazy. They're not involved in the circus show, that's fine. I'll watch them in those booths in the audience, giving reviews, having a good night still. Day 2, they should pop off.
It's interesting though, because if we are going, down a trip down memory lane, the common trope with Cammy and Seti in the past, obviously when they were playing with Teak and Trios, was that they're a day 1 team, right? They're a team that day 1, they're going to be most secure, they're going to be most solid. I don't think that's going to be the case in this tournament, and so we'll see whether or not that is something that plays into it, but maybe a new version of them as we've headed into Chapter 3, one that isn't going to be that kind of team. Aqua and Vino, though.
Whoa. Gotta build up, my friend. This is just tough. Top tier base with lots of shots. Vino taking a bit too many to the head. And now they're splintered and trying to move out. Vino ahead of Aqua, looking back. Acid gonna come through, and you look at the bridge, the big closure I was talking about. That's what Vino and Aqua are relying on. Lots of attention drawn towards the 5-6 teams that need to move below them. Check out that mini-map in just a second. You can see them right now. Hen Queasy. You got Floris Mappy there as well, and Dreda. I think Thomas and Tripper are somewhere close by. All of these teams kind of need to move, and as soon as the lobby gets distracted looking at them, there's gonna be a chance for Vino and Aqua to get in.
Yeah, I think the good thing for Vino and Aqua is that there was that opportunity of the timing, right, where everybody was going, so they've been able to make their way in now.
2 points for Hen and Queasy in game number 4. Listen, Levin, there is no VR qualifies you for first place.
Yeah.
You go on to the next stage. Consistency matters.
The big thing is that there are still plenty of games in theory, right?
Yeah.
I think typically you can't afford to have like 5 bad games, right? 4 is usually the cap, right?
Yeah.
3, you can usually maybe, you can have maybe, 3 rough runs, 1 that's not too great, but maybe you picked up 1 or 2 points. Essentially, the point I'm getting at is these guys have to switch on that flip now.
I think the big thing too with that is that switch can then never be flipped off, right? Like, They have to be online for the rest of the day. Look at an awesome pink. Allowed into one of these end games, one of these later zones. They do big damage, take a man down. That's Noah Riley and Vidil taken out by Pink and Anas.
Yeah, they made them look like quick, easy work. And like you said, their first bite at the apple, an opportunity to push themselves into this game, up the standings as well. They want to play high ground. There's a lot of teams who they're going to have to try and beat out for that. Of course, we've seen Vino and Aqua in so many of these games look to take height. And these guys are going to want to push their way into that fight. So we'll see whether or not those 2 heads will clash.
It'll be really interesting with the gust of the collider nearby as well. If it isn't able towards one of these end games, lots of people having to move all the way over now towards the bottom side of this half and half. Last Sniper probably just going to be able to go on foot or look for the big grab. There it is, all the way up inside the sky. Free rotation for so many people. Now this is the opposite of that water zone we saw. So many people used to, or are just forced to use launch pads, half their builds. This time, so many builds available, pad saves. What does that mean for height?
I think the big thing for height is that whoever's holding it in first moving has to stay alert. There's going to be so many people in the air. You have to hit some shots. You have to scare off the ones that are looking for it. It's typically the late padders, right? The ones that are highest in the sky. That will be your biggest threat.
Meanwhile, some of these people flying high, getting swatted down immediately. Chapix on air duty, and Aqua as well. We thought they were in trouble. He takes out one big flyer trying to walk in. Bad sniper going down.
Vino picked up an elimination earlier as well, so they're definitely going to be looking much better and much healthier. Malibuka and Mustache though, they're looking healthy. A launch pad is something we've not seen them have in many of these games, and so we'll see how they put that to use. But Lucy though, it's not a great situation to be in when you're such low HP with a team like this, pressuring your wall, pressuring your box. They're not able to get the elimination. It will actually be some other players below that take it out. But Queasy and Hen now, another team who finally gets an opportunity as a duo to play in this game. Can they hold on to height? So many top height teams in this game.
The one time they make it, every top team from Cavern, every top team in EU that loves to overtake height is there, and it already starts. You have to give it up. There's no way you just try to hold on to high ground here, Hen. Queasy, save your materials. Look for the next portion of your game. They're staying up top inside this 5th zone, the 6th one actually now moving overall. They have that pad all the way at the top. Hen lands it, Queasy follows. They're looking good for now.
Yeah, the double dip will be huge. You can see Vino was in the sky as well. All of these guys now looking for their moment to take it. Kami and Seti maybe the ones out of place. They're not a height team, but in and around them, so many of the top height titans now. Queasy and Hen will look towards the front side of the zone. Aqua doing the same thing. They want to try build up and claim it, and they might have the opportunity if they can catch on. Aqua with a big shot, a max striker pump shot to take Hen out. But he needs to be careful because Queasy wants revenge. He builds up though, and these are the kind of moments, these are the kind of plays that can define a tournament. A big shot when needed to claim height for themselves.
To claim the lead as well, the cleanliness from Aqua, the pure focus, the dialed in type of form he's on right now. Perfect shot, max damage, perfect builds to take height.
And so now Queasy as a solo. Last FNCS we saw Hen with some spectacular solo plays, but now it's time for Queasy to put on the mantle, and it's not going to be easy in the backside of the zone on high elevation, so he can stay alive, wait for people to go down. But he's still so many top names in this lobby.
He's pushing down to get a few elims. What he doesn't know is his zone is pulling straight up a mountain, a bridge that he might not be able to climb. 4 mats. He has to stay elevated. It's so dangerous doing it as a solo. 150 damage, not enough for Queasy. Vino and Aqua, a chance to pinch the entire lobby down. Look at Jackson, Vico down below. They have no chance to move up. Queasy's made it onto the bridge, but it's costed him almost all of his materials. Has to utilize the mantling, maybe even get a mat or two off of that bridge. The metal, Cammy now going down, Savage, Yapko taken out. Chapix, Vino are just the only ones claiming lives inside the speed. Queasy somehow maximizing the placement. About to touch some grass as well. A big 150 on the Janus. Him and Vortex. This might be the fruit that he needs, but he can't pick it off the tree. Joe now up inside the zone, but this is falling over to the feed. It's not going to Queasy. Nope, it is. He has the siphon. He has the power. He can move forward.
This is huge. That was an absolutely vital elimination. It was necessary. But Queasy needs to stay up now. Vino and Aqua getting challenged for height by Pinkin and Nash. They're working their way up. Hellfire now in zone, hitting big shots onto Marine. He doesn't care who it is. He just wants to hit the shots. He's going to be able to stay up now, but it's going to be so difficult. Thomason tripping on low ground.
No match.
Can they clear it out with no materials? Shots behind them. They need to stay up. They need to stay aware. Malibuka now playing as a solo. Can he hit anything huge? Can he stay in the game? Is it going to be another second place performance for him? Hiding in a bush, but eventually gets snuffed out, gets taken. Seti all alone as well. Cammy is not here. Can he hit a big shot? He's running low on materials. He can't afford to hold on. Now down to 0. Knows he needs to look to a lot below him. It's Kinto and Nebs. Not an easy fight whatsoever.
Chapix, Vino, Aqua, Tayson. Those are the names that are just lighting up the feed in this endgame, but it's just one of the duos that's alive on height. It's Aqua and Vino in that first place, looking for the next shot. Anas with the mantle, the fake out, but he gets seen by the sky. Sunlight in his eyes, blind now on all sides. Anas taken down in the backside of the feed. Afterwards, we tune in with Nebs, Kinzel, armored walls beside them. This is them just putting everything down in terms of control. They drop Thomas in both layers and life. Afterwards, pick apart Trippin in an instant, and after that, Kinzel goes down to the storm. It's Vino and Aqua now. Another game. Do they just have EU in their grasp, or their palms that big and heavy to claim the lives of many top players? Absolutely. Another win for this dynamic duo.
A back-to-back victory royale from a former World Cup winner and a young rising star in Vino. A dynamic duo who has just been so impressive this season and are showing us now on the biggest stage when it matters the most why they are deemed one of the best duos in all of the world.